Well, good evening. Thank you for joining us, those of you that are out there, for Chapter 10 of the Original Adventures of Hank the Cowdog by John Erickson. Please check out these books, will you? You will thoroughly enjoy every single one of them. Over 100 books he's written now. Chapter 10, Aged Mutton. Must have been a couple of days later that I was sitting on the edge of the caprock, sunning myself, looking off in the distance. I'd been there most of the day, thinking about things and enjoying the quiet. Coyote Village was awfully noisy. Seemed that somebody was always in the midst of a squabble. When a husband and a wife had a difference of opinion, they, by George, had a knock-down, drag-out fight right there in front of everybody. And nobody ever seemed to get hurt in these brawls. I guess they managed to solve their problems, but I never could get used to the noise. And the hair. Ugh! After one of them family fights, the air was full of fur. A guy could hardly breathe for all of the hair getting down his throat. And then there were the kids. They must have been 10 or 12 pups in the village, and let me tell you about coyote pups. Now, a dog pup is kind of cute. I'm not real fond of babies. Understand, I even have to admit that a little old cowdog pup is pretty cute. He'll be as fat as a butterball and covered with silky hair, and when he looks up at you with those big old eyes of his, you just have to simply smile and say, "How's it going, kid?" Coyote pups ain't cute. They look mean, they sound mean, they act mean, and fellers, let me tell you this, they are mean. They've got two jaws full of teeth that are as sharp as needles, and their idea of a good, clean fun is to slip up behind some unsuspecting somebody, like me, for instance, and just bite the heck out of their tail. Now, as a rule, I'm a pretty good sport about all this kind of mischief, but I can't get used to people biting my tail. I mean, there's something kind of special and private about a guy's tail. If he's got any pride at all, he tries to keep it nice, and he's a little bit fussy about scabs and bald spots and tooth marks and slobber and all of that stuff on his tail. Now, what I'm trying to say is that my tail ain't a play toy. But these kids, they'd sneak up behind me and sink their little needle-sharp teeth into my tail. First few times I'd growl at them, "Here, y'all go on, get out of here." Didn't work. Coyotes are a little bit slow about taking a hint. They came back and they did it again, so I took sterner measures. Cuffed one of them. Know what he did then? He bit me on the paw. Well, I wasn't going to take that off that darn kid, so I bit him on the scruff of the neck, and he somebody worked around and started chewing on my left ear. That got me all inflamed, don't you see? And I put the boy on the ground and was spanking some manners into him when his mama walked up. "You brute! You brute! Leave my Junior alone!" "Huh?" I looked around just in time to get slapped in the mouth. "There, bully!" I suppose I shouldn't have slapped her back, but I did. Whop! Right across the nose. "Maybe you could teach that boy of yours some manner." Whoop! "Chicken dog!" Whoop! "Wild hag!" She burst into tears, went bawling to her husband, saying I was an animal. I had beat up her kid and called her a wild hag. Oh, turned out she was Scraunch's woman, and here he came all humped up, hair raised up, yellow eyes aflamed. I'd taken about all I wanted off the Scraunch and his family, and I was ready to go into combat, but Missy and her father jumped between us and averted a civil war. But the incident didn't do much to improve my feeling that sooner or later we were going to have a showdown with Missy's brother. Funny thing about all this is, them coyotes don't mind chewing on each other. I mean, they were fighting all the time, but when I tried it, they didn't like it. It made me think that, well, no matter how long I stayed there, they would always think of me as an outsider. Anyway, I was sitting on the ledge off to myself, away from the noise, when Missy came up behind me. She nuzzled her nose and ran her claws down my backbone. Oh, she knew I liked that.
"Something wrong? Hunk looks sad."
"Oh, no, it's nothing. Just wanted to be alone."
"Not enjoy other coyote?"
"Well, do you ever get tired of the noise and all? All that fighting and yelling?" She shook her head.
"That make happy sound. When coyote happy, make bunch noise. When we merry, we happy make noise too."
"Yeah, I see, I guess. We have that to look forward to, don't we?"
"When pup come along, make more noise. Oh, boy."
"Oh, boy."
"Hunk not be sad. Missy have something make Hunk feel good. We have feast, some special food just for Hunk."
Well, I followed her to the village. We went to her parents' den. They were just sitting in front. The old lady was pulling cockaburs out of the chief's tail. Missy asked her mother if she would prepare something special just for me. She said she would. She left and was gone for 10-15 minutes. I tried to make conversation with old Chief Gut, but it wasn't easy. He started talking about the old days, maybe about the time when he went a couple of rounds with a skunk. He thought the story was hilarious. I thought it was moderately funny. The chief was still cackling at his own wonderful, horrible, stinking something or another. I don't know, but his old lady brought in something that stunk even more. I don't know what it was. I turned to Missy. "What's that?"
"Aged mutton."
"Aged mutton?" She nodded.
"Special feast. Make Hunk forget sadness."
Aged mutton. No doubt about it. It had probably been buried for a while. It was green, dotted here and there with white spots, which turned out to be maggots. The smell alone could have taken the paint off of a corral fence. The taste of such rot was too horrible to imagine. The old lady dragged it up and dropped it right at my feet. When she smiled at me, she looked an awful lot like her daughter, except she had several teeth missing and some of that green stuff hanging from her lower lip. "Meat for many months just right for Hunk now." The old man threw back his head and let out a howl, and he dived right in. The old lady did the same. Missy did the same. I took a deep breath, said a little prayer, and dove in too. Let's don't go into any details. It was bad. It was so bad there are no words to describe it. I'll say no more. An hour later, I was lying down with my head over a cliff. I had emptied my body of everything but blood and bones. Missy stood over me, stroking my brow. She'd been very nice about it. They all had been, even my future mother-in-law. She decided that I had drunk some brackish water, and that's what made me sick.
Hunk feel better now?
Feel better, sort of.
Hunk like quiet feast? Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Now Hunk ready for big raid.
I raised my head up. Huh? That was the first I'd heard about the raid. This was going to be my big chance to prove to Missy's Pa and Ma that I was worthy of their daughter. Except Scraunch was putting the deal together. A raid on the ranch. Well, that's the end of chapter 10. Told you it was a short one, but that's building up to one of the high points of the book. Chapter 11, the attack on the ranch. Thank you for joining tonight. And like I said, because it was such a short read, we'll be signing off on Hank, but Rendy and I will be back in just a few minutes and sing you a tune, okay? Thanks for joining in. Love you guys. You love one another. Be kind to each other. Say a prayer and say thanks to all those out there working in the medical field, for all those putting up with us in all types of food industries. Enjoy your evening. Hope to see you here in just a few minutes. Rendy and I will be coming live on Facebook in just a few more minutes. Thank you.